In our last episode, we destroyed one of the 3 generators powering the oxygen pumps when we explored the hangar with Paulson. Then, we brought Soma with us while we explored the engine room. Today, we'll take Paulson with us again, this time to explore the cargo hold. We access the cargo hold by opening the door immediately to the right of the hangar. Immediately upon entry, we get attacked by Guardian drones.
I'll bury every last one.
There's some food on a table, and to the east we see a door, but it's locked right now, though the hologram tells us that this is a door to a teleporter room. We'll likely gain access to this later. We find a total of 3 chests in this room, 2 against the western wall, and 1 against the southern wall. And then turning east, we can walk across a catwalk. We could continue straight, but we do see a stairway to the right. Taking this downstairs, we find an aisle lined on either side with shelves filled with goods from Earth. We find suitcases, tin cans, teddy bears, plungers, pots, and a drone.
End of the road for you!
This must be where the aliens are organizing everything they loot from Earth. Before I could explore further, we hear Paulson getting himself into trouble.
Damn it!
Turning around and racing up the stairs, we can get rid of a ceiling-mounted turret.
I'll blast you in half!
After the dust settles, we can try to get our bearings. We're on some sort of catwalk lining the perimeter of a large room, and we keep finding more aliens walking around up here. It seems like pathing is a bit of an issue up here. I had to chase down this last alien. And then we get attacked by one from the east, only this guy is attacking from another catwalk on a lower level. We have to leap down from this one to get him. But somehow along the way we've lost Paulson. We find him after walking to the very end of this catwalk. He managed to discover some sort of claw next to a big hole. We see a chute on the roof with a bunch of earth junk falling out of it. Whoa! Was that a Yaoguai? A Brahmin? Looks like this is some sort of garbage chute where the aliens are disposing of stuff they no longer need. We see a bunch of junk and scrap all over the place, and even a few containers that we can't open. Right next to the trash chute is a conveyor belt, and on top we find a whole bunch of goodies. There's a wooden box filled with chems. Turning east, we see a stack of BBs, a pile of shotgun shells, and it just keeps going. We find an ammunition box, a stack of missiles, some 5mm rounds next to a baby carriage, a missile launcher, a stack of railway spikes, an ammo box past some cinder blocks, and another box filled with plasma grenades. Here the track rounds a corner. I stopped here to explore my surroundings. We see a stack of baby carriages on some sort of examination table with a bunch of consoles nearby. We see some Vault-Tec propaganda posters and a teddy bear here, and then a shelf with hand dryers and a bathtub to the northwest. Here we can continue to follow the conveyor belt. Looks like the aliens have stolen a bunch of billboards. One for a bowling alley, another about Captain Cosmos. I'm sure this probably really confuses them. We see baseball diamonds on a shelf nearby, and then continuing to follow the conveyor belt, we loot a stack of frag mines next to some traffic cones. Then we pass a table, a fan, we find a bin filled with frag grenades, we pass a microfiche reader, We find a Chinese assault rifle on the other side, nail boards, a minigun, and then a corner dedicated to bathrooms. Some broken toilets, a women's bathroom sign, tubs, and more hand dryers. To the north, we find a Nuka-Cola corner. We see 2 Nuka-Cola machines, one of which still has Nuka-Cola inside.
Nuka what?
And against the western wall, we see Nuka-Cola truck toys, delivery bags, and some bottles. It's here where our companions all have something to say.
Thirsty? Huh. I wonder if the aliens love this stuff as much as we do down below.
Nuka-Cola. You know, they came out with this stuff called Nuka-Cola Quantum way back. That was some powerful stuff. I can still taste it now.
Continuing along the conveyor belt, we pass a bunch of furniture, including a desk, a broken terminal, a mailbox. We find another corner. This appears to be all looted from a vault computer room. We see a vault sign that says computer room next to some blasted out terminals. However, one of the terminals works. This is Reed Underwood's terminal, but it's locked with a hard lock. However, if we hack it, we find a series of log entries. Reed Underwood's private terminal. We are not alone. Looks like most of his log entries happened between April and May 2063. On April 11th, he wrote, "They think we're stupid, that we have no idea what they're up to, but we know. Barbed wire-topped fences and security cameras be damned. We'll get the truth to come out if it's the last thing we do. The conspiracy has to end, and we'll be the ones to drag it from the shadows and cast it into the spotlight for all to see. They deny everything. They deny the place even exists. But here we are, faced with armed guards who patrol the dunes and robotic sentries calculating our every move. They're careful, but not careful enough. I found a loophole, a way in, and I mean to exploit it soon." A few days later, on April 15th, "We've done it! We have it in our hands. The smoking gun. The evidence we need to prove that everything they've told the world is a lie. Now let's try to see them weasel their way out of this one and make petty excuses. The only reason they've been so successful this long is because of the lack of proof on our part, but that's all over. As soon as the coast is clear, we're bringing this thing to the press. But for now, we need to lay low. No telling how long it'll take before they discover how we did it." The very next day, on April 16th, "They're closing in. How did they find out? What did we miss? I thought we'd covered our tracks, but there must be something we'd forgotten. The security logs were completely erased. The inventory files were rewritten. That only leaves Dr. Morley. That bastard. He approached us saying that he wanted to crack the conspiracy wide open, and all the while he was playing us like fools. He just wanted to expose us, to bring us out into the open so they could eliminate us. Well, it's not going to work. They'll never find us, and they'll never get their hands on the item." Half a month later, on May 1st, "Banks is dead. Combs is dead. I'm the only member of Quaere Verum left. I'm not certain how much longer I'll be safe here. I'm placing the item inside a specially constructed safe with a remote lock trigger. It'll take a damn genius hacker to get into this terminal, and the safe can withstand anything they throw at it. Tomorrow I take the terminal and the safe, and I'm gonna bury them out in the desert where they'll never find them. Hopefully, one day, someone else will discover the item and realize that they hold the key to unlocking the truth. All they need to do is succeed where we have failed. Good luck to us all." The final entry is an option to remotely unlock a safe. We see that the safe is unlocked, but where is this safe? Scouring this corner of terminals and signs, we don't see a safe anywhere. Perhaps we'll find it as we continue to explore. Passing a flamer on the conveyor belt, we can turn right, where we find a wall filled with ammunition boxes, each of which is filled with a bunch of wonderful ammunition. When done looting, we can continue along the conveyor belt where we loot a mini nuke, and we find yet another corner of junk. I think this corner came from a looted office space. We see telephones, desk lamps, cinder blocks, janitorial stuff, more desks and furniture in the corner, and then turning west, we find another bank of weapons and ammunition. A plasma rifle, BB gun, 2 laser pistols, flamer fuel, and plenty of more ammunition boxes. There are some ballistic weapons here as well. A scoped 44 Magnum, a hunting rifle, an assault rifle, a shelf of 10mm pistols, and another missile launcher. Continuing along the conveyor belt, we pass a tire, a coffee machine, until we find a bunch of power armor. 2 T-45 power armor helmets and a T-45 power armor suit. Turning to the southwest, we see what appears to be kitchenware. There are some bottle cap mines to the west, and here we find a door to the research lab. We'll come back and explore this in a moment. Turning to the southeast, we see a bunch of chems and medicine buff out on a shelf. Radex, Mentats, Radaway, Medex, and then Scotch and Nuka-Cola. The examination shelf behind us has a bunch of boxed food, plates, cutlery, and some typewriters. With this corner explored, we can go back to the conveyor belt. Just beyond the power armor is a sniper rifle, and after passing a bucket and a baby carriage, we find another stack of armor, Raider Blastmaster and Pain Spike armor, as well as a full suit of combat armor, including the helmet. Continuing along, we pass a desk, and with that, we've made a complete loop of the cargo hold. We find ourselves back at that claw next to the junk chute, where we see more cows and Yaoguai falling. What in the blazes? After doing another thorough examination of this junk pile, we discover a large safe embedded in the junk. This is Underwood's safe. The very safe we remotely unlocked after hacking Underwood's terminal. Inside, we find a stack of energy cells, a note, MPLX Novasurge prototype plasma pistol, and the MPLX Novasurge. Reading the note first, project name, MPLX, Military Plasma Experimental, Novasurge. Item, prototype plasma pistol, section A61. Department head, Dr. Aldwin Morley. Report number 040663-02. The Novasurge has proven to be a tough nut to crack. The output is still very high, causing massive injury to targets, but it's drawing far too much power from its energy cells. We also need to get the weight down on the weapon, as it's a bit heavy for a simple replacement sidearm. The problem still seems to be the coolant coils, which are accounting for almost 50% of the weapon's weight. The good news is that the housing for the weapon has been approved, and this is likely the final design. Unfortunately, I need to increase our staff's hours to 7 days a week again so we can have the final prototype ready for testing by the end of the year. So it sounds like Dr. Morley really did betray Underwood and his cohorts. He was none other than the department head of the very team who worked on the pistol that Underwood stole. We see that it's a beautiful prototype plasma pistol, but this weapon is way more powerful than a standard plasma pistol. It has a base damage of 80 compared to a plasma pistol's base damage of 25. It also has a higher critical chance multiplier of ×3 instead of a plasma pistol's ×2, and does 75 critical damage, which is 3 times that of a plasma pistol. This brings the DPS of the weapon up to 240 compared to 75 of a plasma pistol, and a final damage per action point of 3.8 compared to a plasma pistol's 1.2. It has the same magazine capacity as a plasma pistol, however the drawback is that each shot from the MPLX Novasurge consumes 2 energy cells, meaning that effectively we can only get 8 shots off per magazine before we have to reload. It also has less than half the durability of a regular plasma pistol, which makes sense because this is a prototype, and the pistol has a weight problem. As the note said, it's twice as heavy as a regular plasma pistol, weighing 6 pounds instead of 3. It's clear that the group Quare Verum, which is Latin for seek the truth, thought that this pistol was evidence that the United States government had somehow gotten their hands on alien technology. However, I'm not sure that they're right about that. This plasma pistol is very different from anything we find on this ship. Now that we've fully explored this ground floor, we can head up the stairs to finish exploring the catwalks. From the trash chute, we can head up some stairs to the west to walk along the lower catwalk. This just brings us back to the ground floor next to the baseball diamonds and the billboard stacked against the wall. But from here we find another staircase that leads up to the top level of the catwalk, and from here we can go either south or east. Heading east first, we can round a corner until it goes south, and follow it all the way till we find a floating platform. Here we find a healing archway we can modify overlooking the trash chute. Continuing southwest, we can follow the catwalk to another floating platform where we find a big stack of irradiated toxic barrels. They're shielded behind some sort of glass capsule though, which appears to be working well. Our Pip-Boy does not pick up radiation as we get near. We see a radiation suit next to these barrels, but we can't access it because it's behind the glass. To continue, we can follow the catwalk to the northwest, which eventually leads to a split. Turning right, we can follow this, passing by many of the sites we've seen from the bottom, Reed Underwood's terminal, the Nuka-Cola corner, and then finally we get close to the door that leads back to the engineering core. But before we head that way, we see a little nook that's separated from the rest of the floor. Taking some stairs down, we see a platform upon which is hovering some sexy sleepwear. Guess the aliens were really intrigued by this. We find more clothing organized on some shelves to the left. Nothing terribly interesting, but we do find a big stack of party hats, very similar to the party hats we wore during our birthday in Vault 111. And with that, we fully explore the cargo hold. Heading back to the engineering core, we can check in with our companions to see if they've scrounged up anything else. And sure enough, they've been hard at work. We find shotgun shells and .308 caliber rounds on a table. Heading downstairs, we see a missile launcher and an ammunition box inside a refrigerator underneath the stairs, right next to Toshiro's makeshift bed. Next, we'll explore the research lab. Remember when we were in the cargo hold, we found that door to the research lab. For this adventure, I wanted to take a new companion, so I went ahead and got Elliot. Heading into the cargo hold, we can move all the way to the southwest to pass through the door to the research lab. Inside, we go down some stairs and open a door to find ourselves in a huge room. Looks like this is where the aliens are researching Earth vehicles. We see a few aliens and turrets about. When the room is clear, we can explore its perimeter. We see a bunch of tires and a fusion flea to the east. Next to this is a door lined by shelves covered in toy cars. We'll pass through here in a moment. Passing a street cleaner, we find a Corvega next to an observation platform. As we climb the observation platform, 2 more aliens enter the room. Just northwest of this, we find another bank of consoles, one of which has alien captive recording log number 13.
Hey now, no reason to get yourselves worked up. Whatever you need, I'm going to tell it to you. Well, I'm pretty sure you want me to talk into this thing, so here goes. My name is Giles Wollstonecroft. I'm the current Assistant Chief Executive Officer of the Vault Tech Corporation. I was inspecting the construction site of Vault 76 when I was captured what I can only assume are alien beings from another world. I'm not sure what they want from me or what they will do to me, but whatever they need, I will readily provide. Perhaps if I can bridge our communication gap and establish a rapport with them, we can enter into an exclusive trade agreement. In fact, instead of talking to this damn machine, I'm going to attempt to address them directly. On behalf of the Vault Tech Corporation, I'd like to extend a heartfelt welcome to you. Wait, you don't need that. Wait!
Sounds like they kidnapped a high-ranking senior executive of Vault Tech. I wonder what kind of information they got out of him. Looking to the west, we see a bunch of jets holding aloft a space capsule. Peering closer, we see that this capsule is called the Clarabella 7. This must be the very same space capsule that Colonel Hartigan was in when he was abducted by these aliens. Remember, Colonel Hartigan was the astronaut whose body we found in his cryopod. He's the guy we took the spacesuit from. Nearby, we find a Lone Wanderer motorcycle next to a 4-door Corvega on display. With this room clear and explored, we can head east through the door. Heading down the hallway, we see another support drone in its pod. Since we don't have the controller yet, we can't do anything with this guy. Moving east, we arrive in a big tube filled with pipes, where we find one alien.
Oh, you want some of this?
And what's that? Is that a giddy-up Buttercup?
You got to be kidding me. I saw posters like these all over the ruins. Never actually saw one until now.
Now that looks like some tough riding. Those things real?
Hey, look. Giddy-up Buttercups. All the rich kids had them. Waste of money, if you ask me.
After destroying the drones here, we can head over to examine these more closely, and sure enough, we see a bunch of giant giddy-up Buttercups. It looks as if the aliens are trying to recreate them. We see a workbench filled with giddy-up Buttercup parts, but they're far larger than the giddy-up Buttercups we find on Earth. We find a huge bank of finished Buttercups, and they're the size of human beings. To leave, we can open a door to the south, but just before we pass through it, we can access a nearby terminal on a wall to activate a locked door. This reveals a room where we find some healing archways. Passing through the large circular door that we unlocked leads us to another room filled with more giddy-up Buttercups.
Oh, okay. Now it all makes sense.
What kind of horses are these anyway? I can't see anyone having any respect riding into town on one of those things.
Only these are on rotating platforms surrounded in crackling electricity.
What are they doing to the Buttercups?
Great question, Elliot. It's almost as if the aliens don't really know what these Buttercups are used for and are trying to figure it out, dousing these things with electricity as part of some sort of experiment. Looking to the east, holy cow!
Okay, this is getting a little ridiculous now.
You're telling me we find a room filled with giddy-up Buttercups, giant giddy-up Buttercups, on huge shelves. The aliens have a bunch of giddy-up Buttercup posters on the wall. Do they really not know that these are just children's toys? Heading through a southern door. Oh no. We see bodies and blood spatter on the ground surrounding a giddy-up Buttercup.
Curious, but I don't think I want to know the answer judging by what happened here. Let's not stay long. This place gives me the creeps.
Hell, my horse never did that.
Our situation didn't get any better by the looks of what happened here. I say we get the hell out of here.
These bodies bear the label test subject. Well, what exactly were they testing? Taking a look at this giddy-up Buttercup in the middle here, as we get close. What, did you see that? Did his eye just glow red? Well, wait a minute. Did this giddy-up Buttercup kill all of these test subjects? The Fallout 3 official strategy guide has a great line here that I can't omit. He neighs, he trots, he'll love you lots. He'll also periodically malfunction and dismember test subjects. Perhaps the aliens were trying to recreate these things to be tools of war. Unable to understand the concept of a toy, perhaps they were racking their brains trying to figure out exactly what humans were using these things for. This room is a dead end, so retracing our steps, we can go back into that large room where we first found the giddy-up Buttercups and turn east. Here we see another large room where they were constructing and assembling giddy-up Buttercups, and we find a few aliens hard at work. Behind us, we find a control near to a Buttercup that we previously missed. This gives us captive recorded log number 21.
Hello, Mr. Alien. Yeah, I know. I'll talk into the thing. I don't know why you brought me back here. We've done this a whole bunch of... Hey! Giddy up Buttercup! Wow!
More of them.
I always wanted one of those. Why do you have one? I don't understand. What do you want? It's a toy. A toy! Why are you so excited? You're weird.
Oh, that was the voice of Sally. Sounds like they brought her here to experiment on her. Thankfully, she survived. We can go down a staircase to the east to the ground floor. Here we can loot the bodies of the aliens we killed, only to be attacked by a turret. We find a door to the south, which leads to that big room with all of the Buttercups on the shelves.
This is kind of disturbing.
Giddy up.
And here we find one tiny toy-sized Giddy-Up Buttercup. We can't interact with any of the others, but we can take this one home. On a shelf to the northwest, we find some pulse grenades.
They even have some of the posters I've seen scattered about the waste. Looks like they're studying them. Or idolizing them. Not sure.
Why, look at what we got here. Little girl here riding one of those horses. Giddy up, Buttercup. Kinda catchy, ain't it?
And we can leave by heading back into that room with all of the bodies around that large Buttercup and activate the teleportation pad. This teleports us back into the cargo hold. Here we can activate a control which opens that locked door we found upon first entering the cargo hold. This is right next to the exit, and we can head on out. With the research lab explored, we can head back to discover that our companions have again been hard at work. We find a whole bunch of scrap on a table just outside the door to the northern room. Hammers, wrenches, surgical tubing, cherry bombs, gas tanks, all sorts of stuff. Heading inside, we find a new bed against the wall to the northeast, providing us with another place to rest. The place is quite a mess. We find a bunch of clipboards and ruined books scattered all over the ground. And on a doodad near the staircase, we find a coffee pot, a coffee mug, and a power fist. There's a beer and some brass knuckles on a doodad nearby. Heading downstairs, we find a Nuka-Cola in a box behind a generator, another first aid kit on a table near the window, and a plasma rifle on a shelf in the back of the room. With that, we fully explore the research lab. This leaves us with 3 places we need to explore: robotics assembly and the cryo lab, both of which have generators we need to destroy, and finally the maintenance level. We'll explore all of these in upcoming videos. I publish weekly content here on my channel, so if you don't want to miss the next episode, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. And what about the MPLX Nova Surge? Do you think we find enough evidence to suggest that the plasma pistol was based on alien technology? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. I've got a bunch of Oxhorn t-shirts, which include some wonderful custom artwork. You can find the shirts in a wide array of colors and sizes for both men and women, and the designs come on a bunch of other stuff as well. If you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming a sponsor here on YouTube or a patron on Patreon. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, with episode 5.